So the president is correct. The data is there. Foreign nations make far more money from trade with America than we make from them. It's in the trillions of dollars when you add it up. How do they do it? Well, I'm going to walk through that. I'm going to tell you exactly how the countries abroad are screwing us. Why aren't Americans aware of this? Two reasons. The press ignores it. It's too boring. It's too complicated. And we live pretty well here. Despite the bad trade deals, we live pretty well. In fact, we live better than anybody else on the planet. So there isn't an urgency like there is with criminal migrants, for example. Okay? Now, Donald Trump has now become the biggest president disruptor in the history of this republic. He passes Theodore Roosevelt. The turn of the 20th century, Roosevelt went after the robber barons, the monopolies. He tried to crush them. It was a brawl. I write about it in Confronting Evil. These robber barons were as bad as you could possibly get, exploiting American workers. But they employed millions of people. Even though most of those people were being exploited, they got a paycheck. So Roosevelt going after these big shots was not popular. Teddy won. He knocked out a lot of the monopolies in this country. Again, people don't know it. History isn't taught anymore. But when you read Confronting Evil, you'll see, because that is an interesting chapter. So Donald Trump has now wiped Teddy off the face of the map by saying to the world, I'm going to fight you all at once to get better trade agreements. He might win like Teddy did. It was painful for Teddy, and nobody knew the outcome for a while. Same thing could happen. Donald Trump could get better trade deals here. That could absolutely happen. But in the short term, today, if you were in the stock market, you lost money. I lost money. I bought a little stock today. Not much. I bought a company that I feel a year from now is going to be very prosperous. And I didn't buy many shares. But that company got whacked. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I can't do that. But I bought a little bit today. I still believe in the American economy and that we are going to do well going forward. But in the next few weeks, boy, oh boy. So the president is making a decision to try to catapult himself up to greatness. Because if it all comes true and manufacturing comes back to the United States and investment comes back to the United States, the American worker will prosper big time. But if it doesn't come true, it's going to be hard economic times. All right, do we have it? Okay. Now, enter the press. They want Trump to fail, except for Fox News and Newsmax. Everybody else in the press wants Trump to fail. So as soon as the stock market goes down, you get hysteria. Go.
And so they have taken an economy that was actually in pretty decent shape and moving in the right direction, and they are going to turn it upside down, and I think 50-50 into a recession.
Wow, 50-50. And you have, as you said, companies like Goldman Sachs using the word stagflation, that combination of inflation and slowing growth.
So that's NBC Comcast. It's going to be a recession. It's going to be horrible. You're going to lose your home. Your kids will be out in the street, that. And then people who are not informed, who aren't watching the No Spin News or listening to, they don't know. They just don't. Fear is a great political motivator, okay? So press is arrayed. This is bad. What Trump is doing is bad. All right. Now, there is a segment, a sliver of information that comes out that is fair. Okay, that's why this broadcast prospers. Excuse me. Last night on News Nation, I was on with Cuomo, as I am every Wednesday, and Geraldo was on too. Geraldo just took his family to Japan. Here's what he said. Go.
I can tell you, we went the length and breadth of the island archipelago, and the big cities like Tokyo and the others. We did not see a single American car on the road in Tokyo. Not a Caddy, not a Buick, not a Ford, not a Chevy, not a nothing. We have plenty of Toyotas here in my neighborhood and around the country.
And you won't see American cars in China, in South Korea, in Southeast Asia, in Germany, and most of the rest of Europe. You will not see them, which is why members of the United Auto Workers Union went to the press conference to bolster President Trump yesterday. So American cars are shut out, whereas many of us drive foreign cars. Not me. I never do that. I have a Cadillac. It's 9 years old. It's a good car, and I'm keeping it. All right? I would never buy a foreign car under any circumstances. All right? Because I buy American. Anyway, Rivera told the truth that countries like Japan, which is our big ally, set up a system whereby American cars are so expensive once they get on the ground in Japan that no Japanese is going to pay that money. And they do that by tariffs. They do that by taxes, VAT, value-added tax, regulations. Oh, we don't like this tire, and you got to do this, and you got to do that. So they're shut out. Is that fair? No, it's not fair. That's the best example I can give you. And then you multiply that by 1,000 American products. Our products go all over the world, but many of them cannot get into the individual countries, like India. India makes it almost impossible. Canada, you can't get dairy in there, American dairy. Can't get American crops in there. Okay? Mexico's the same way. They don't want a certain product. They slap on all onerous regulations, so you can't get it down there. That's what it's all about. Do we all understand? Raise your hand if you don't. Now, most Americans not watching this broadcast because they're not really seeking information. They don't understand tariffs. I don't want to be arrogant, but they don't. Go out today and just ask anybody, what's this tariff deal all about? Well, we don't like it. Oh, okay, what don't you like? They don't know. So people like that are easily manipulated by the far left hate Trump press. Now, I had to set News Nation straight last night about what the core issue is here as far as Donald Trump's mind. What is in his mind? Roll the tape. It did affect American markets, but not in the way that people think. So let's go to Bernie Sanders. Let's go to the income inequality crew. Well, why do you think there's so much income inequality? Because the high-paying union manufacturing jobs went overseas. And they were replaced by service jobs that don't pay as much, or public service, or whatever. So what Trump clearly said is, I'm going to bring back those manufacturing jobs. People are going to invest in plants in America. That's going to heighten
but that's an if.
the potential to earn money by Americans.
But that's highly speculative.
Okay, it might. I don't think it's highly speculative, but it is speculative. But that's what Trump wants to do. He wants to bring back the jobs that have fled overseas. Apple already said it's going to relocate billions back to the USA from China. The Gulf nations are now pledging $1 trillion infrastructure investment in American manufacturing. So if you are a regular American, all right, and you're trying to earn a living, and you have a choice between getting into a manufacturing plant and earning $75 an hour or driving an Uber, what are you going to take? But the manufacturing jobs have gone to Mexico and China and Southeast Asia because the workers there work for cheap. Some of them are slave workers. In China, they are actually slave workers. So the American companies go, oh, we don't care about American workers. We want to make as much money as possible. We're going over there. Trump wants to stop that. Okay, again, raise your hand if you don't understand it. It's important that you understand what the intent is. Now, Cuomo goes, speculative. All right. So Trump has one of two choices. He can ignore it like every other president has, or he can try to fix it. And he chose to try to fix it. That's where we are. Okay. I think that is about as fair an explanation as you will ever get from any person in the media. Here are the other reactions from the media last night. Go.
It is hard to overstate the potential impact of tonight's breaking news, and it's no exaggeration to say it has the potential to affect more lives and livelihoods in this country and around the world than virtually anything short of wars and pandemics.
Donald Trump has been on a quest to turn the United States relationship with our friend Canada, one of our closest allies, on its head between his manufactured trade war and threats to make Canada the 51st state. His actions are so ludicrous and so deeply unpopular that they are prompting the booing of our national anthem at NHL and NBA games held in Canada over the last couple weeks.
President Trump calling it a declaration of economic independence. He calls it Liberation Day. It is almost certainly to liberate more money from your wallet.
It's utter nonsense. The European Union charges the U.S. a 39% tariff. That's obviously preposterous. It's totally invented. We don't even know where that number comes from.
That's just stupid. He's stupid. All right. Everybody knows that the VAT tax in Europe, which is between 20 and 25% in most places, jacks up the price of all imported goods, not just from the USA. You know, this kind of dishonesty, if I'm the head of Comcast NBC, he doesn't work for me. He's just not smart enough to work for me. And he's misleading everybody. And then Wallace, his actions are so ludicrous and deeply unpopular. Of course, they're going to be deeply unpopular with Canada and every other country because they're not going to make as much money. If Trump's successful in what he's doing, those countries aren't going to make as much cash. So they're not going to be happy about it. But again, Nicole Wallace, does she know anything? And I hate to get personal because I know these people. I got to tell you, they don't know anything. And they don't care to know. They don't care. All they want to do is bash and hate Donald Trump. And that's what they do. But this stuff gets out to casual Americans who don't follow the news, who don't understand what this is all about. All right, let's wrap it up here. So short-term pain is going to happen. And Donald Trump is responsible for the short-term pain. That's a fact. Longer term, nobody knows. I don't know. I can't even guess. I'm hoping, not for ideological or party reasons, I'm hoping that Trump makes good deals and the American economy surges, which absolutely could happen as well. And that's what I'm hoping for. Why? Because I want every American to live better, to have more security. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. I thought his presentation yesterday was pretty good. All right, I know what I'm talking about here. I've been to 86 countries. Rivera told the truth. He's all over there. You're not going to see any cars made in America in these countries. So, Trump is a disruptor. Will he win? Place your bets. That's the memo. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on X. Look for @Bill O'Reilly.